Hello everyone. In the last month I have completely messed up my sleep schedule. Being very busy with one of my projects, I got so carried away that involuntarily, I went to bed at 2:3 a.m. and woke up at 5 a.m., then at 1 p.m. This was followed by the typical symptoms of this lifestyle: rapid fatigue, fog in my head, impaired productivity, and a complete lack of motivation to do anything. In short, I began to feel what anyone who neglects their sleep schedule feels. And since many of you have also experienced this problem, in this video I will set forth a certain stencil of action, with the help of which you can, in the shortest possible time, fully restore all the rhythms of your body and find your morning vigor. It is with the help of this stencil, in just 1 week, I have regained my ideal mode. So let's get started. So the main hormone regulating circadian rhythms is melatonin. It's what makes us want to sleep. However, when the regime is disrupted, the secret of this hormone is also disrupted. Our body does not know when and in what quantities to secrete it. Pharmaceutical companies, of course, do not doze off. They have found a solution. So now, in any pharmacy, you can buy a tablet of melatonin. But despite its effectiveness, the safety of such a drug is, to put it mildly, questionable. After all, in all mammals, without exception, these pills cause contraction of the genitals. Not yet tested on humans. Moreover, as the most popular supplement in the world, including among children, it can contain doses exceeding the declared ones by 500%. At the same time, it carries contaminants that could potentially even kill. In short, medicine cabinet pills are not the best option. But if melatonin were by some fluke contained in ordinary food and had no adverse effects, we could change circadian rhythms through nutrition. And fortunately for us, there are such foods. If you eat 2 bananas or drink the juice of a kilo of oranges or chew a whole pineapple, in as little as 2 hours your blood melatonin levels will jump to pretty decent levels. However, this is a rather large amount of food, especially before going to bed. The case is a little better with cranberries. Just 30 grams of these berries 2 hours before sleep will give you the necessary sedative effect. It is true that only fresh cranberries are suitable, not dried cranberries. So again, this is not ideal. To taste, this berry is, after all, for an amateur. That's why there are pistachios. You only need to eat 2 nuts to get the desired effect. Yes, just 2. Pistachios are the richest melatonin product we have ever found. Over 200 micrograms of melatonin per gram of product. The concentration is so high that a handful of these nuts is 5 times the usual dose of a drugstore drug, and at the same time without consequences. However, there is an important point. Melatonin is destroyed by heat treatment, so pistachios should be eaten only in raw form. Moving on. Scientists have recently discovered a real reset button for all circadian settings, which I also took advantage of. Turns out our body adjusts its biological clock to the habitual availability of food. In other words, if you've beaten your eating routine and are used to eating at 1 a.m. then, your body will inhibit sleep until you've eaten. Fortunately, this habit is very easy to break. You just need to fast for 16 hours. Have an early dinner at 6 p.m. and don't eat anything until the morning. The breakfast the next morning should be very nutritious and complete, so that the body feels the need to wake up and go to sleep at the right time for you. This approach has shown its effectiveness in several studies. Therefore, despite the inconvenience of this practice, it is worth it. The next trick has to do with the second hormone that regulates our circadian rhythms, cortisol. When melatonin increases, cortisol decreases. They're 2 antagonist hormones. Cortisol makes us feel awake, and that's not helpful in the evening, so we're going to lower it. 2 tools are very good for this. One is the contrast shower. When we are exposed to cold temperatures, cortisol will spike, but then it will drop below what it was before exposure. And it goes down significantly, about 35%. The second tool is meditation. It only lowers the cortisol after 4 days, but again, quite dramatically. The average numbers are 20%. Cortisol reduction is a very important process that will allow you to get back on your regimen much quicker and easier. So let's summarize and make a plan. First, remember what time you last went to bed. Let's say 12 o'clock at night. Then decide what time you want to go to sleep. For example, at 10 p.m. So after a week, you should fall asleep 2 hours earlier. Divide 2 hours by 7 and you get 17 minutes. Consequently, each day you should fall asleep 17 minutes earlier than the previous day. Knowing the time of falling asleep, you can start the procedures. 4 hours before going to sleep, take a contrast shower and do 10-minute meditation. 3 hours before going to bed, we eat pistachios. And finally, 16 hours before breakfast, do not eat anything other than pistachios, which I just mentioned. Again, if these practices are not to your liking, after a week, when your circadian rhythms adjust to another mode, you can stop doing them. And the effects will remain. I wish you a steady, good night's sleep.